NYYST. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Homie, New York, Yankee sports talk. Record, rain or shine, grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST, you're hanging with the fellas.
Well, welcome back. This is episode 397 of the NYYST podcast. We are live on NYY Underground. I am your host, Christian. As always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You
know what, bro? I want to be in a good mood about this team at all times, so I'm not going to let Clay Holmes' failures as the Yankees closer ruin my mood. Is that fair?
That's fair.
But I'm gonna rip him in about 3 minutes. Is that also fair?
Also fair.
So we're live here on NYY Underground. It's about 8:30 on Thursday night. The Yanks dropped a heartbreaker earlier in Kansas City. It was one of those games. I say there's always a handful of games if you're going to have a special season that you win throughout the course of the year. And that game was lining up to be one of those special games. No hit through 6. Juan Soto gets the base knock in the 7th to break the no-hitter up. And then they rally for 3 runs in the 8th inning there, capped off with a big RBI single from Juan Soto. And then Clay Holmes took the mound. And instead of having one of those, I think this is a championship team type wins, you had this team needs a fucking closer type losses. Does that sum it up pretty well?
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much to unpack with Clay Holmes because you look at his stats and obviously anyone who wants to gaslight you, like I'm not even going to mention specific people that I'm fighting with on Twitter. It's just not worth it. But anyone who wants to gaslight you will show you his stats for this year.
Aren't they gaslighting themselves?
No, I think they're brainwashed, maybe. And so they gaslight others, maybe. I think that's how it works.
We're going to take a deep dive into Clay Holmes, but let's knock this out real quick here. Please subscribe to the NYYST podcast wherever you get your podcast. We do have audio-only shows and have had audio-only shows throughout the course of the year. So if you are subscribed, you will not miss anything. Okay? Also, make sure you're telling everybody you know that we are the official Yankees podcast of Odyssey. It's nice weather. The summer's here. Everybody's out on their front porch. Make sure you're stopping by. You know, instead of saying, have you heard of the good word, you know, of the Lord, you could say that too if you want to, but also say, have you heard the fellas are the official Yankees podcast of Odyssey? And if you're in the chat tonight, make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe to NYY Underground. Let's be active tonight. Let's have a good time here, despite Clay Holmes' failures as the Yankees closer.
Okay.
All right.
Let's dive into this because I'm very excited.
Okay.
You want to start? You want to dive deeper? You want me to keep going?
Look, here's the thing, right? I not been consistent in saying that the one thing I think is going to keep the Yankees from winning a World Series is Clay Holmes.
Yeah, and I think you've even when he was going through a stretch where, like in the beginning of the year, he had a 0 ERA, but you were concerned still. And then he had a stretch where he was really dominant. And to our credit, at that point, we started questioning ourselves. We said, maybe we're being too harsh on him. He looks great. We call it how it is. That has never changed on the show. We call it how it is. Do things change? Absolutely. Objective things can change throughout the course of a season, especially when you're doing shows at the end of every single series. But the underlying narrative that we've had on Clay Holmes has never changed. It has never been that he sucks. We've always thought he was a solid reliever.
I think he's a really good reliever.
Yes.
I think he's borderline great as a setup guy.
Yeah.
I don't want him I don't mind him in my bullpen at all. I don't want him getting the last 3 outs of a game though.
All right. So I think there's a couple things we do have to kind of work through. The first thing is because we have to dismiss certain things that these gaslighters I brought up mentioned. So the first thing is, we felt the same way about Chapman, right? You had that same feeling about Chapman. You probably respect Clay Holmes more as a reliever than you did Chapman because Chapman was a flamethrower.
I respect Chapman. I mean, I respect Holmes more as a human being than I do the role as Chapman. I don't know if I respect him more as a closer than I do.
I didn't say closer. I said reliever. As a pitcher, I think Clay Holmes is more of a pitcher than Chapman was. Maybe now in his career, Chapman's more of a pitcher. He has some extra pieces, but that's not the point. The point is, we've been critical of anyone taking this role really since Mariano Rivera because he was the greatest of all time.
That's an undisputed fact, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, no, because there's people that will try to argue that.
No,
there are actually people that will try to argue that he is not the greatest closer of all time.
And those are people that I would never respect in any regard at any time. So my first point is how much of this is us being unfair because we were used to just a guy who went out there every single night that he needed to close out a game and did it effortlessly, and how much of this is just the general struggles of a closer on any team, any human closer, because Mariano was not human. So
how many guys have you seen that you never heard of this year come in on teams closing games out against the Yankees, throwing straight gas? At least I can think of like 4 or 5 guys that just come in there that you haven't even heard of, and they just come out of nowhere, and they're throwing 101.
So that's what you want? Is that what you want?
You need, for the 9th inning, you need somebody that misses bats. Clay Holmes doesn't miss bats.
Fair. And let me just go on with that point real quick. That's actually a great point because even when Clay Holmes does get beat, he's not getting beat. Sometimes he will lose the game himself. He'll walk guys. He's inconsistent, so on and so forth. And then the other times, like today,
hold on a second. Hey, okay. C. Mitchell, okay? There's a real reason why he's not with Pittsburgh. Please enlighten us on what the real reason why he's not with Pittsburgh is, because if there's a reason beyond the fact that he was terrible and the Yankees have turned him into a really good reliever, then please let us know what that reason is. I would love to know what it is.
Okay. So there's been a lot of times where because Clay Holmes doesn't miss bats, you hear it all the time. You heard it as a kid, just put the ball in play. And a lot of these teams just are able to just put the ball in play against Clay Holmes. And, they're either getting lucky. The Yankees are playing sloppy defense, which is something we're obviously going to have to talk about. But overall, you're right. I think that is a very fair assessment that I think the Yankees need a closer that misses bats. And if you want to argue anything against Clay Holmes, you can defend him all you want. I love the guy. I think he's really good. But that is his biggest Achilles heel, I think.
Hey, listen, Kyle Schwarber, you're in the chat, pal. Go fuck yourself, all right? Because if this is your favorite show, don't be taking shots at my co-host, all right?
Nice. Thanks, bro. Thanks for having my back, man.
No, because if you can't say this is your favorite show and then rip the other half of the show.
It's all right, bro. Doesn't bother me.
Oh,
thanks,
that's fine.
Kyle. Thanks for watching, Kyle.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in.
Okay.
All right. Listen, my big thing, that was a big problem for me with Clay Holmes, is that he's not a strikeout pitcher. They mentioned this on the broadcast the other night. The Yankees, despite having the second best bullpen ERA, they're like 22nd in swings and misses out of the bullpen.
Who is?
The Yankees.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Look, was Mariano Rivera a strikeout pitcher? No, I wouldn't say Mo was a strikeout pitcher. But there's a difference between Mariano Rivera and Clay Holmes in the sense that Mariano Rivera knew where he was throwing the ball. He threw it in a spot you couldn't hit the friggin' thing. Very
Well,
rarely did you ever see Mariano Rivera get himself into trouble.
I was just going to say, if you're not going to be a swing and miss pitcher, then the other half of that to be successful is you can't be putting guys on base yourself. You just can't.
Dude, he was behind in the count on what was it, 2-0 when he gave up the game-winning double. You got to cut. You can't. You know that you can't face Bobby Witt Jr. with the bases loaded. You got to come over the plate with something in that situation. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. We can you can sit there if you're a Clay Holmes creamer, okay? If you're one of these kids that cream themselves over Clay Holmes, you have to sit there and say to yourself, well, why doesn't this guy throw enough strikes then? How many times have we seen Clay Holmes get himself into trouble because he doesn't throw strikes? Please stop with the soft contact because he gave up 2 hits, 2 legit hits. That was a rocket double that ended the game today. Everybody always wants it. What was that game that he blew at Yankee Stadium? Was it the Mariners game? And everybody, they were going on about it for days and days.
That was
days.
like the first game he gave up an earned run. His ERA at that point was 0.
They're going on days and days and days about soft contact. When he's giving up legit hits, he's walking guys. Like he creates his own problems. Yeah, look, let's go to the 9th inning today. A lot of people want to blame Anthony Rizzo for allowing the base runner there. I don't know how many more times I needed to watch that play, but I don't think Rizzo gets him if he charges the ball. Do you know how deep Anthony Rizzo is right there? They're playing no doubles defense. He's deep and on the line. That's not a play you can 100% say is getting made if Anthony Rizzo is charging the ball.
Fine, I won't argue that, but I'll say my bigger concern is that Anthony Rizzo is an elite first baseman defensively.
And I think that's why
he just looked lost on that play.
Because I think he got caught in between of how deep he was and then watching home. There was a lot of moving parts to that play. I don't know if anything works perfectly in the Yankees' favor. They still get an out there.
I can actually, if you want to make a better argument on it, and I'd have to go back and watch it a couple more times. I did watch it a lot, but it's kind of tough to make out. But if you want to argue anything, really, from what I saw, and again, I'm not defending Rizzo here, but it looked like, you got to know where your defense is, and you got to know how far back Rizzo's playing. Maybe I'm wrong here, but didn't it look like Clay Holmes almost could have made the play on the ball himself? And it looked like he saw Rizzo coming to make the play, and that's where I got frustrated.
Look, the ball was hit in I honestly think the ball was hitting the perfect spot to throw both of those guys off.
Fine, but it looked like Clay Holmes almost outran the ball where he almost could have made the play. I think if Rizzo's first move, I think at that point should have been to the bag. I'm not defending. Look, Luis, I'm not defending the indefensible. Watch the play again. You cannot sit there and tell me that if everything works perfectly, they still getting out there. My point is not to give Anthony Rizzo a pass. It's to get to the larger point that did not cost the Yankees the game today, which everybody wants to. A lot of people want to blame Rizzo and say, "Oh, if he charges the ball." No, do you know that there's no law in place? And I checked. I looked it up. There's no law in place that says Clay Holmes can't get the 9-hitter out. There's no law in place that says he has to give up a game-winning to a guy the Yankees held in check all series, that he gives up a rocket down the third baseline. If you still want to put blame on Rizzo, say he fucked that play up, he should have made the play, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you because it didn't cost the Yankees the game. What cost the Yankees the game is the fact that Clay Holmes had 2 opportunities. After Glaber gets the force out at second, he had 2 opportunities to close the game and gave up hits. That's what cost the Yankees the game. I'm not defending Anthony Rizzo. I'm trying to explain to you that did not cost them the game because, A, I don't know if everything works perfectly, they still get the out there. And B,
Clay Holmes had an opportunity to get 2 outs and didn't do it.
We got a super chat from Ra. Thanks, Ra. You're the man. Said, Chris, you have some valid points regarding Holmes. He's a very good reliever. But can you honestly say you trust Holmes in the big spot in the postseason? I don't know if he's talking about you.
Did you trust him in Kansas City today at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in June?
No.
Okay,
I mean,
so
look, guys, at the end of the day, we're not sitting here trying to rip Clay Holmes. I think Clay Holmes has done a phenomenal job, even as a closer. I think that he's done better than a lot of guys this year. All I'm saying is I just don't see him being a sustainable option, especially when you start to envision this team in October in way bigger games than the fourth game of a series you've already won 3 in the middle of the afternoon on a Thursday in Kansas City. And if I can't trust him, if I was on the edge of my seat today, what am I going to be feeling during that game in October when the season's on the line? That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to rip Clay Holmes. I'm not saying I want him off this team. I think he's a valuable piece to this bullpen. I just think there's got to be a better option. And I never thought of it in the way that you put it, of swing and miss stuff. I think that's the key right now, especially in the day and age we are in baseball. That the most effective closers are guys who have swing and miss stuff, who know where the ball is going.
And I have a couple tweets about Clay Holmes, and everybody in the comments, well, we need a swing and miss closer. What have I've been saying this for how long? And now everybody's realizing it after today.
Yeah, because you want to know something? Here's the second part of what I was saying about Holmes that I wanted to bring up. What I was saying was the people who want to gaslight you talk about his stats, right? But it's way deeper than that, because first you go back to Arizona, right? People forget about that game. I think there was even a game before that, or maybe slightly after, where he also gave up like inherited runners.
He had a
blown save.
He had a blown save before he had an ERA because he allowed inherited runners to score.
But was that the Arizona game or the game before Arizona? I thought he had a blown save already going into Arizona, but I could be wrong.
It was Arizona because Verdugo hit that home run to give him the lead late, and then it wasn't the game when it turned out not to be the game-winning hit.
Right. So and then
Pete's right. Soto saved him in Houston on opening day, throwing the runner out at home.
There you go. You have that as well. So there's a lot of different things. Then you have Seattle. And Seattle, you chalk up to, okay, he's had a 0 ERA. And at that point, the main reason why you don't necessarily have to go crazy over it is because Clay Holmes wasn't just getting lucky anymore. He was in a stretch where he was dominant. And you're starting to say to yourself, when this guy's on, man, he's unhittable. And he's great. But ever since then, it's been back to which Clay Holmes are we getting today? Is he going to walk guys? Is he going to give up, a couple bloops? Is he going to give up a hard hit? For me, when you have a closer, you need to know what you're getting. I'm not saying he has to be perfect, but for the most part, for the majority of the times he's taking the ball, you need to know who you're getting.
Hirsch with the CNC Music Factory reference, name dropping CNC Music Factory in the fucking chat.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
is that like an old timer thing?
Okay, shut up. And I defend you, and then you take a shot at me.
Sorry, bro.
Listen, everybody, the soft contact people. Okay, I can make a joke there about what your wives say about you. Okay? Soft contact. Okay. I like to bring that up regarding Clay Holmes. Guess who gives up soft contact? Pitchers that pitch to contact. Ground balls find holes, right? We've seen that how many times in baseball. That's why it is essential for Brian Cashman to scour the trade market, figure out who's available, and don't ask me who they're going to get. That's Brian Cashman's job. I identified what the problem is. I've done half the job for Brian Cashman. Now Brian Cashman can go fucking do his part of the job here. You know who doesn't give up soft contact? Guys that miss bats.
Very fair.
And
Beyond fair.
I know everybody's the apple of everybody's eyes, Mason Miller. Okay, go get him. Be prepared to live with the price tag, though. I'm not saying right
And
or
the
wrong.
liability.
I'm not saying right or look. That's another thing. This kid is completely untested, by the way. But you know what? He throws 103 coming out of the pen. You're willing to take a chance on it for sure. Be prepared to live with the price tag because there's fans complaining still today, June 13th. We've gotten 91 games of Juan Soto, or 88 because he missed a few, saying that the Yankees paid too much for him.
Yeah.
And that's a guy that's been on a Hall of Fame trajectory already in his career. Mason Miller's had a cup of coffee here this year. Everybody loves him because of what they've seen out of him, obviously. But this is a lottery ticket for the A's to cash in. Are you prepared to start with Spencer Jones and then another, couple of top 10, 15, 20 prospects?
Yeah, and I talked to one of the scouts who scouted him and, gave his recommendation for the A's to take him. They took him late because he has diabetes. It was a concern for him. Diabetes. It was a concern for him in college. He was very sick for a while. And also he has a fucking metal rod in his elbow. I mean, the dude's got elbow problems. So it's a liability in itself there. I'm not saying I don't want him. He's been friggin' amazing. But it's a huge price tag with a huge risk. And it's just, it doesn't seem to be Brian Cashman's way of doing business, in my opinion.
So we got a super chat from Rich Squires. He goes, let's do a deep dive. Our bullpen still has question marks. We gave up runs that shouldn't have been given up, and the assessment on Holmes is spot on. Okay, thank you, Rich.
Okay, thanks, Rich. You're the man.
That's why the Guardians, okay, politically correct.
Okay, Indians. Okay, I call them Indians.
Being good this year is killing the Yankees right now.
Why?
Emmanuel Clase is the guy you want to go get.
Oh, I now I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Crackle
he's
nuts.
Good too. He's
great.
filthy.
Crackle nuts with the chat, super chat. Most closers make you sweat, but Holmes will make you crap yourself. What's up, fellas? Tanner Scott could be a co-closer with Holmes. That's SGR's guy right there, Tanner Scott.
Is it?
Do you not pay attention to anything anybody says on this show?
No. Goes right over my head.
Obviously, because he's only mentioned it like the last 5 times he's been on the show.
Never heard of him.
Tanner Scott or SGR?
Both.
Look. The hell was that?
Wow.
Are we playing Super Mario?
Crack these nuts.
I think the Yankees need to acquire. They need a guy with swing and miss stuff. That's the guy they need to target. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know enough about Tanner Scott. Is he a strikeout guy? If he is, bring him in. Let's go. Because they don't have anything. Well, who's in that bullpen right now that bases loaded situation, you cannot let the guy make contact with the ball who's coming into the game right now?
It's such a great point because it's not something. And look, this team's so good right now. They're so good. So what do you want us to sit here and say? How good they are? Like, how boring of a show is that? They're fucking amazing. So to that point, I guess what I'm trying to get at is we have to talk about the concerns despite how great they've been, but it's also a reason why I haven't really thought about that as a concern. Like, I'm so distracted by how amazing they've been that you're right. I never sat here and thought, like, who's a guy who I can trust to come in, let alone throw strikes, but just to have swing and miss stuff. There's nobody. No one. Unless I'm forgetting someone.
No, I think they're all pretty much do pitch to contact. Maybe Luke Weaver. Maybe that's the guy.
I
I'm not
mean,
saying
maybe
he's
5 years ago you could argue Tommy Kahnle.
and after his last couple of appearances, I don't want him anywhere near a big spot right now.
No.
And I see a couple people in the chat keep saying Luis Heel. Okay, fine. Listen, let's bring up Luis Heel here for a quick second. He's pitching tomorrow night against Boston. Okay, didn't have the greatest start against the Dodgers on Sunday night. Battled. Talked about that on our last episode. Uh, Matt Blake was on foul territory and said that the Yankees have no arbitrary innings limit in place, but they have things that they're going to do to kind of as the season moves along. He said he wouldn't rule out putting him in the bullpen. The only problem with Luis Heel being a bullpen, being a closer, is you need him on a nightly basis. I don't know if the Yankees are going to stress him like that. Maybe you see him. When do you throw a bullpen in between the starts? In between your starts on the third day?
Usually on the third day.
On the third day. So
Second
maybe
day could be like some long toss, stuff like that. I think the third day is the scheduled bullpen, late bullpen.
maybe the Yankees would use him in that situation. They, have him throw two out of every 5 days, maybe, or however that would work. Have him whatever his scheduled bullpen day would be. He can come out of the bullpen that day, and then whatever his scheduled start would be, he can come out of the bullpen that day. I couldn't see the Yankees turning the closer role over to him where he would need to be available on a nightly basis.
I'll go one further. I don't think I'd want it. Like, don't get me wrong, Luis Heel has been just unbelievable. There's nothing more we can say about how unbelievable he's been. We've talked about it at length, but we're talking about a guy who doesn't have swing and miss stuff that also doesn't have control. The control part is a big factor, and Luis Heel's still getting over that hurdle. You saw him regress a little bit.
Wait,
For
who
the
doesn't
most
have
part,
swing and miss stuff?
No. Command. If I said swing and miss, I didn't mean that. I meant command of the strike zone, where Luis Heel on any given day might, his swing and miss stuff makes up for it. But coming out in the ninth inning in a close game, yeah, do I have confidence that he can miss bats with his stuff? Of course, but I'm also worried that he won't be able to find the strike zone. And guess what? Relievers have to face a minimum of 3 batters. So I don't know if that's the answer, man. I think what you said is exactly what the remedy is here. Go out, get me a guy who throws strikes and misses bats. And that's it. That's the answer to what the Yankees need for us to feel like this bullpen is going to be fully reliable in close ball games.
I'm not just saying this because I'm a braggadocious Yankee fan, because if you listen to the show, you know how we do keep things grounded on here. People have called us too negative because instead of enjoying what we are, I am enjoying.
I'm having the most fun I've ever had in my life watching this team.
But if you gave me a legitimate strikeout machine type closer on this team, tell me the team that's beating the Yankees this year.
You can really argue, after what we saw today and how well this team has just either dominated or battled back and showed heart and just continue to win ball games, you can really argue after today that if anything else, if just one thing can happen, maybe it's give me that dominant closer we're talking about for me to feel like this team can win a World Series.
My biggest problem with the Yankees overall is that they don't have enough swing and miss anywhere really out in this, even in the starting rotation. Carlos Rodon has not Carlos Rodon was fucking brilliant the other night. He had, as far as pure stuff goes, that was the best he's had as a Yankee.
Not even close. no other start has been close, in my opinion.
He's pitched to a lot more contact, but he does have swing and miss stuff. But if you look at the other guys in this rotation, okay, Luis Heal's got it, but what's his long-term future with this? I mean, season with in this season, I should say, right?
Right? Question mark.
Stroman doesn't have swing and miss shit.
Opposite.
Absolutely no.
That's why he nibbles.
Nestor Cortez doesn't have swing and miss stuff.
Every once in a while, he'll miss a bat that you're not expecting him to, but correct. He doesn't profile as a swing and miss guy.
You got Clark Schmidt, who's on the IL, but he can strike guys out, but he doesn't really profile as a strikeout pitcher.
Right.
That's why Garrett Cole coming back is not only vital because he's your ace, he's your he's not just your best pitcher. He is the best pitcher in baseball. Garrett Cole fucking strikes guys out.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole can fucking shut down a rally because you know what he's got? He's got fuck you, I got 99 and I'll paint it on the fucking corner and hit it, bitch. That's what he's got. And Carlos Rodon's got the same type of shit. Here's 98. I'm done. Oh my God.
Under your fucking chin.
Bro, he had that at bat. What was it? 11, 12 pitches? And he just said, here's fucking 98, you jerk off, hit it.
And I
loved it.
Let me tell you something. That moment might have been my favorite. In that moment, I was like, I've never loved Rodon more as a Yankee up to that point.
Oh, oh my God, you guys are nitpicking. Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's hold on. Let's stop the show.
Okay.
Let's stop the show. Let's start the show over, okay? Co-host Chris, yo. Okay, Yankees are fucking awesome, guys. Yeah, they're only a couple games up in the East, but who cares? Who cares? They have 49 wins. They are fucking incredible. Their offense is amazing. I love Juan Soto. Aaron Judge is the greatest player on the planet. Okay, good night.
How boring is that?
Good night. Oh, the pitching's been amazing. Okay, guys, great. Of course we're fucking happy. Of course. If you're a Yankee fan right now and you are not happy with what you're seeing on the field and off the field, you are fucking out of your mind.
Let's go back to in the middle of Aaron Judge's injury last year, when you realized he wasn't coming back for a long time, and this team was like watching grass grow.
It was so painful.
But you still turned on, yes, 7:05 every night because you're like a crack addict and you need it, and you just couldn't stop it. And you just couldn't stop it. But it was a chore to watch this team. Now all day you're thinking about, fuck, I gotta make sure I'm not
first pitch.
I make sure I'm not doing anything. I gotta make sure that the kid is fed, showered, in bed, whatever it is that you have to, responsibilities, work's done, gym's done. So you are free to watch this team at 7:05 because it is fun. It is fun to watch Yankee baseball. They do it in different ways every night. Some nights Aaron Judge and Stanton and Soto, they're hitting fucking tanks every night. Some nights it's Jose Trevino with a big RBI double. You know, you never know who the hero is going to be. You never know who's going to step up and get that big hit. It's fun. It's appointment television. But the fact of the matter is, it's June 9th or June 13th. I'm sorry. You want this feeling to continue into October. You want the Yankees to be the last team standing. I want to have this same feeling at the end of October that I do right now. So you could sit there and say, "Oh, Aaron Judge MVP candidate, Soto MVP candidate, Garrett Cole's coming back. We have Jay, blah blah blah." Great, it's awesome. The Yankees would have been the first team to win 50 had they held on today. All great stuff. Love it. You got to win the World Series this year.
Look, you could almost argue that we seem like we're nitpicking more this year than other years, despite how great they've been, because we see something different in this team. And instead of wasting time and energy and just boring content of talking about how great they've been, we're starting to look at something that's being built. And we're saying to ourselves, okay, what's going to get this product we're seeing over the finish line? Because what you're seeing can be great, but we've seen enough of what it takes to get across that finish line. And at the same time, we've seen what can be missing. And that's what we're starting to focus on because we're taking this team so seriously, because we see how great they are, because we see the potential. So we can sit here all night and for an hour talk about how happy we are and how great this team has been. Or we can get serious now because it's been how many fucking years since this team crossed the finish line? We can start to get serious now and say this is the team that can do it. But here's what needs to be done for that to happen.
Yeah, exactly. This is the best chance the Yankees have had to win a World Series since, what do you want to say, 2010?
It's not even close.
Because every year since Aaron Boone's been here, there's always been an excuse why they couldn't get it done. There's no excuse now. I have not felt this about the Yankees in a long time, and probably a decade and a half, that this team has the mentality. The mentality, guys. That's the biggest difference with this team over the previous teams that Aaron Boone has managed. This team, in my heart, I believe this in my heart, this team has the mentality to go all the way. You cannot let a guy like Clay Holmes keep you from that. If there is a closer to be had, if there is bullpen help to be had, that is the key piece keeping you from winning, you have to do it. You have to.
Fair enough.
We've been saying this in spring training. Why does this feel different? Because the Yankees feel there's an urgency in this club this year.
Finally. That's what we've been asking for.
And look, this is the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. The Baltimore Orioles are just as good as the fucking Yankees are.
It's so frustrating too.
The Yankees won 4 out of 6. They lost 2 games in the standings because Baltimore won 6 in a row.
They're so good.
I mean, this is what we're dealing with. There's nobody else in baseball. There's no other division leader that has a lead less than 5 games. The Yankees are probably the best team in baseball. Their lead is 1. Because probably the second best team in baseball is right behind them. Orioles.
I think you can argue, putting records aside, that the Orioles have the second best team in baseball. There's just no doubt. They're just that good. The Phillies, obviously, but man, for the Orioles to keep up.
For me, there's 4 teams that can win a World Series: the Yankees, the Orioles, the Dodgers, and the Phillies. Those are the 4 teams for me right now.
Not going to argue it. I don't think you give Cleveland enough credit, but I think they've played well enough.
And I told you this, I don't think they have the sustainability to make a deep run. I respect them for what they've done.
Yeah, I don't think they're a World Series contender.
So yeah, this team is great. That's why we're sitting here telling you, please fix this problem. Please fix this problem.
Please. Reminded me of an SNL skit. I can't put my finger on it though.
And I guess
Adam Sandler. Please let my son watch your dog.
And the other thing, I guess, if you have to kind of figure out what else needs to be fixed, get DJ LeMahieu off this team.
You're there?
Somebody drop a bowling ball in his leg.
Are you there?
Look,
I'm not there yet on DJ.
I'll be honest with you. I've never come on this show and backtracked off of anything that I've ever said. I wanted the Yankees to re-sign DJ LeMahieu. I love DJ LeMahieu. He's done.
You think?
All right.
I'm not going to argue you, dude. It's been so frustrating. Even him batting at the bottom of the order has just been I
thought that was the perfect spot for him. He can just kind of blend in.
Yep.
All right. He's got 8 hits. He's got 8 hits in 51 plate appearances.
45.
Is it? 40.
Oh no, I have no idea. I was just going off the top of my head.
He has 51 plate appearances so far this year, and he's got 8 hits. Name me out of those 51 plate appearances. Name me a time he's hit the ball hard.
Maybe once or twice that I can remember.
I don't
Couple-
even remember
Couple
that.
hard hit outs he's had, for sure. But just really almost looks like a guy who's just so desperate to go back to his old ways, and he just can't. He can't get there. He certainly looks like a shell of himself. DJ LeMahieu used to step up to the plate, and it hasn't been that long. You should remember this. DJ LeMahieu used to step up to the plate, and you almost just expected him to get on base. Every single time you expected it. You were shocked when DJ LeMahieu didn't get on base. And now you look at him, and he just looks like any expendable guy up there. It's fucking sucks.
Scott Wright is not wrong. Okay, didn't want to use the same word back to back, even though spelled differently. Okay, DJ's entered the Hicks Wash Donaldson phase of his career.
Oh, that's a fucking tough. That's a tough comparison, but I can't argue it. All I can sit here and say is I'm not ready to throw in the towel just yet on DJ LeMahieu. I'm not.
Robert Tishon. Is this Bob? Is this Bob?
Wow.
Bob, this you? He leaves a super chat. Let's remember 2023. Lucky if a starter went 3 innings, scoring 3 runs was like pulling teeth. IKF in center field. 20. I mean, is he tell me when he's lying here?
Yeah. Trust me, man.
2024, the team is awesome. You have to look at the weaknesses. So I see the bullpen as the big hole. I mean,
yeah, bullpen, corner, infield. It's really.
Again, I'm sorry. I don't want to say your name wrong and trigger you and then have you challenged to fight me at the stadium on the 14th. So, I'll just read your comment here. Guys, respectfully, what are we talking about? The Yankees are playing better than anybody expected. I don't have any complaints. Yeah, you should have fucking complaints. You should. This team is so good that you can complain about the things that's wrong with them because if they fix it, they will win the World Series this year.
Look, this isn't a personal attack on anyone who's commenting. I swear it's not. But we live in a society right now where everyone's good enough. Tell me I'm good enough. Tell me this. Tell me. You know what I fucking tell my kids? You can always get better. It doesn't mean I don't love you and that I don't appreciate you working hard and whatever, but you should always be wanting to grow. You should always be wanting to get better. You should never be complacent in life. Same goes for a fucking team who we love and think are amazing. That doesn't mean we sit back and go, everything's fucking fine and dandy. You know what happens? You know what happens when you do that? You get your fucking heart broken in October while you watch a ball sail over the wall for a walk-off home run that ends your fucking season. That's what happens when you have that mentality. No, this team can get better. This team is fucking amazing. We are not complaining about the team. We are simply pointing out what this team needs to do to not get our fucking hearts broken in a few months from now. That's it. It's that simple. Don't sit here with this fucking mentality of stop complaining. This team's great. I have nothing to. If you have nothing to contribute to this team growing and getting better, then you are in the minority. It doesn't mean you have to be negative about the team. No one is negative about this team right now. If you are negative about the New York Yankees, you should just find another sport to watch. If you are a Yankee fan feeling negative about the Yankees, this isn't the sport or season for you. No one here is negative. We are simply stating what this team needs to do to finally cross that fucking finish line again.
DJ Steels, I'm not a big cream cheese guy, okay? Okay.
I'm not even reading the chats. I love cream cheese, though.
Yeah, you would, okay?
Okay.
Anyway, listen. Back to DJ LeMahieu. Here's why I want him gone over Anthony Rizzo, and I know it's not going to happen because the Yankees have another few years invested in him, but he just looks slow and unathletic, and he just looks like he's done. He doesn't hit anything with authority. You look at Anthony Rizzo, at least I have that faint hope. And then a day like today, he runs into one, right?
Yeah, I think the old argument is the best argument for DJ right now. He just looks old.
But it's going to be one or the other. The Yankees are not going to replace both of them, right? And I can't see the Yankees in a world where they would replace both of these guys. If you have to pick one or the other, I think Anthony Rizzo, maybe I flip flopped on that a little bit, but you and Brian were the ones who were like saying that LeMayu was new crap, so you wanted to run with that more than you did Rizzo at that point. But at least Rizzo sat those 2 days. On Wednesday he had the sac fly. I think he had a single. He had a couple other balls that he hit well. I wouldn't say he was scalding them, but he hit him with a little bit more force than he had been. Today he comes up with the home run. I've seen more life out of Anthony Rizzo than I have DJ LeMayu.
That's fair. I just think DJ is more versatile. He's been, despite sucking at the plate, he's still been great defensively. And you got to see who's available, right? Like if you can get a solid third baseman, then, DJ's your answer to stay. Again, not that they're getting rid of either. I really don't believe they would. But, I mean, you got to think of those things too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the lineup. Look, if you get Volpe's been a little bit of a slump lately. You see the average is dipping into the low 270s right now, but you got Volpe. He'll come back around. He'll get hot again. You got Soto. You got Judge. You got Verdugo. You got Stanton. That's a 1 through 5 right there. I'm really confident in those guys. Who's the sixth guy? Who's the guy that's really going to stretch this lineup out? You know, and I just want to go back to
You got
something.
to, honestly, I'm just going to cut you off real quick. I know we ripped him in the beginning of the year, but you can almost argue Trevino. He's been very good at the plate for this team.
Going to bat him sixth in the postseason.
Fair. No. But all I'm saying is you're talking about lengthening this lineup. Even having him 7th, 8th, or 9th, he's lengthening the lineup because he's been a very consistent hitter this year. And I think Glaber's come around a little bit over the last week or so.
Yeah, everybody shows me these numbers of Gleyber Torres. He's hitting this since then. He's had this LPS since then. And I'm like, I just don't feel like he's done a lot. I still feel like this is not a player that is going to contribute to a championship right now.
I think he still can be a player. But again, we're talking about lengthening a lineup. I just need him to get on base more. And I think he has been doing that. You pair that with Trevino hitting pretty well and getting into some big home runs, that really lengthens your lineup a lot.
You know what the thing about Jose Trevino is, and I don't think he gets a lot of credit for it, is he just has like that it factor.
Yeah,
he has that it factor where if he finds himself in a big spot, more times than not, he comes through.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you talked about him not getting the credit for it. Unfortunately, even though you're 100% right, I still wouldn't be a guy who I'd be excited for up in a big spot with the season on the line.
Okay, the Yankees have the tying run at third base, 2 outs. They don't score this run, season over. You have to pick between Jose Trevino, Gleyber Torres, Anthony Rizzo, and DJ LeMayu to take the at bat.
Oh, I mean, the obvious answer right now is Trevino. But man, something in me wants to say DJ LeMayu.
If you took more than 0.2 seconds to say Jose Trevino, you're fooling yourself.
It's obviously Trevino right now.
Look, like I said when we opened the show here, I want to be happy about this team. I don't want to sit here and rip Clay Holmes. But
And
again,
you are happy about the team.
I love this team, dude. This is like I said, it's the most fun I've had watching the Yankees, and I can't even remember. Maybe I did have fun watching them and when Judge was chasing the record, but maybe, last year was like, how they say, excuse me,
Yeah.
dogs age 1 year, 7 years for every 1 human year.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's what
last
happened
year,
last year.
maybe last year aged us 7 years as Yankee fans.
Could have.
Maybe it feels like that far, that long ago because of last year. But, again, the goal here this season is to win the World Series. Okay. And I've been saying it, and you can go back. There are video upon video upon video on this channel. Go to odyssey.com, search NYYST under podcast. TikTok, we're at an NYYST_podcast, anywhere. Boom. My biggest concern before a pitch was even thrown in this season of keeping the Yankees from the promised land was Clay Holmes. And again, he popped up again today. And I want to go back to something Pete posted earlier that I glossed over. Clay Holmes in his last 15 games, Pete, if you can, I believe that was what you said. His ERA is 3.95.
Not good.
ERA, I know I have correct. I'm not sure if it was over the last 15, but in that range there, his ERA is approaching 4. Again, is he slumping right now? Everybody ebbs and flows, slumps, sure. But he's not a guy I truly look. I always say this, right? I always say this. It is Pete. Pete did confirm his last 15. I always say this, man. I want to be wrong. I want to sit here, Game 6 of the World Series. Yanks are up 5-3. Clay Holmes comes marching into the bullpen here. I want to see Clay Holmes throw the last pitch of the Yankees' drought. Ground ball to second, over to Rizzo. Yankees win.
The Yankees are
Yankees
back
win.
on top.
Okay? I want to be wrong. I want Clay Holmes to be a World Series closer. Right now, I don't see it. And again, I get this shit all the time on social media. I'm offering my opinion, okay? Whether anybody likes it or not, that's irrelevant to me. I'm offering my opinion. NYYU has hired us to offer our opinion. Odyssey has hired us to offer our opinion. We are hired by people to offer our opinion. What is an opinion if it's Aaron Judge is great, Juan Soto is great, Chris, let's go home?
Well,
Look,
of course. And here's the end of the argument of stop nitpicking, just be positive. This is all you need to end the argument. Answer me this question. Very simple question. What happened to the Yankees in 2022? Did they win the World Series?
They didn't even win a game. Excuse me. They didn't even win a game in the ALCS.
They didn't, right? And after 70, the Yankees have played 70 games now?
No, yeah, I'm sorry. I said before that. Did I say before that they played 91 games? There's 91 games left in the season, if that's.
So, regardless, in 2022, do you know what the Yankees' record was?
Was that the year they were comparing them to 98 with the pace they were on?
I believe their record at one point in time was either 51 or 52-18.
The Yankees have played 71 games this year.
So now let's go back. Let's go back to 2022. We're doing this podcast. The Yankees are 51-18, whatever they were. And we're sitting here pointing out the flaws of the team, and people are in the comments saying, why are you nitpicking? Just be positive. Because what the fuck happened in 2022?
It was like the Titanic. What was that thing called? What was it? What was
the submersible, the Titan.
The Titan, yes.
It was like the fucking Titan, dude. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Okay.
R.I.P. Okay. It was like the fuck. It wasn't the best. Wasn't the best submersible out there, but it had its journeys. Rest in peace. Okay. That was the Yankees in 2022. So don't sit here and tell me with a team I'm saying is special. way more special than the 2022 team, despite 2022 them having a better record at this point. Don't tell me we should sit here and not point things out, because your regular season record, as great as it is, as much as you want to win the division, it means nothing when it comes to October. If you are not built properly to be the best and beat the best, you are not going anywhere. And I'm sick of not going anywhere. This is the most special team we've seen in a long time. And out of all the teams we've seen, at least in the last decade, they have the most, they have the highest chance, I think, of finding those few pieces to put them over the top and get them there.
Yeah, and one of those pieces that could potentially help the Yankees, and we'll close the show out with this here, is was officially optioned to AAA the other day, and that's Jason Dominguez. His rehab is done. He is officially a member of the Scranton Rail Riders. I don't think that comes as a surprise to anybody.
Well, it certainly doesn't to us. We've been saying that for months.
Again, the problem with Jason Dominguez is that he plays the outfield, and you cannot bump anybody that plays the outfield right now.
You can't, and you can't bump anyone who's strictly a DH, because the guy who's strictly a DH has been doing more than we expected and all that we wanted him to. Is he still streaky? Yeah, but he's minimizing that, and he's been a real big force in this lineup, and the Yankees need him. They need him to be that force.
Look, he's after he hit the home run yesterday, so I don't know if things have changed because a lot of guys are bunched up. He's obviously still tied for second with the Yankees and on the Yankees in home runs.
That was his 17th, right?
With Soto. I believe he was ninth, or no, he got up to sixth, I think. Overall in Major League Baseball. 10 of his 17 home runs have come when the game was within 3 runs. So people like to say he hits garbage time home runs. It's just simply not the case. What more could you want out of Stan? Yeah, he's slow. We know that. They could take the ball and chuck it into the next town, and he still wouldn't score on a single from second base. Okay, we all know this.
Slow.
But how are you? Again, we say this is a tired conversation, just like the Luis Hill conversation. But how are you telling Giancarlo Stanton after the season he's had? You're done.
Can I ask you a question?
You're not playing anymore.
You know how we used to joke, and I used to jokingly get offended because I played first, that everyone would just say, "Oh, just put him at first base." Like, it didn't matter who it was. The answer was always just throw him at first base. Like, Gary Sanchez sucked behind the plate. Oh, put him at first. No.
Do you know what I noticed the other day?
Okay.
So you know how I collect the stadium bobbleheads?
Mm-hmm.
So I believe because I have them all by position, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 catchers that have been given out. Right?
Is Gary not one of them?
No, Gary's one of them. You know that all at 3 of the 4 are in their catching gear,
except Gary.
Except for Gary, he's swinging the bat.
That's fair, though. That's fair. Anyway, so I know I'm turning into one of those people right now, but do you see in any way, shape, or form the Yankees, even if it's not in game situations, at least just seeing if Dominguez can field a couple ground balls at first base? I mean, you want to talk about finding a spot for this guy and, like, really just making this lineup fucking brutal. Could you imagine they just fucking test it out a little bit? A little? Maybe once? Maybe pregame? Maybe on an off day? Do you think they even flirt with the idea? That's
not even a little bit.
Really? It just sucks, dude. It sucks that we can't find a spot for him.
Are you fascinated with putting Judge at first base like some people are?
What? Have
Dude,
we not seen the plays he's made out there?
I get tweets about it daily. I see tweets about it, and I see it daily of people saying, "Oh, we got to move Judge. Judge will be moved to first base." Because when you bring it up, you bring it up. Where's Dominguez playing? And people that Judge to first base.
No, no, thank you.
Okay, again, I can't, guys. Trent Grisham is not the answer.
Oh man.
Tell me how it benefits Jason Dominguez to play twice a week.
Nah, look, guys. You you can't you can't sacrifice putting Dominguez on the bench. We shouldn't even have to waste our breath on this. I mean, you want to talk about ruining a guy? Put him on the bench when he's a starting player. When he's a guy who needs to be out there every single day.
I don't know what putting again, and then people like, what's the lowest common? What's the lowest guy on the poll? Then it's Alex Verdugo, right? You're gonna turn what? I don't see why we would need to turn Alex Verdugo into a bench player.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know I love Verdugo. I'm not advocating to do this. All I'm saying is I can at least see the argument if people wanted to say he's really not, he's definitely a streaky hitter. When he is hot, he's dangerous. But if you wanted to argue that over anything else, of putting Dominguez out there and then using Verdugo as the guy who, gives people days off in the outfield, I'd be more on board with that than any other idea at this point. I think that more on board with that than he should replace Stanton, more on board with that than Judge should go to first, or any of the other crazy shit that people are saying.
Hirsch, yeah, maybe in 5 years, if you want to put Judge, you want to start flirting with Judge at first base, that's fine. But that's going to be something the Yankees do in spring training. They're not going to wake up on June 14th and be like, "Okay, Aaron, grab a first baseman's glove."
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen. The Yankees aren't going to do that to Aaron Judge. I think it would be stupid to do something like that. That's something that's got to happen in the offseason if that's if that's a plan you have. And I see people in the chat saying it's crazy that Stanton is blocking Jason Dominguez. No, Tommy John surgery is blocking Jason Dominguez. That's why Jason Dominguez doesn't have a spot on his team, because the Yankees had to fill his spot because he had Tommy John surgery. And guess what? Shit happens. Ask Wally Pipp. Okay. Sometimes you get hurt and you lose your spot. It sucks. It's unfortunate, but that's what happened to Jason Dominguez. And guess what? He's not going to be a footnote in history like Wally Pipp is. He's going to be in the fucking outfield next year. He may even be in the outfield at some point this year. But right now, there's no room for him. And again, you gotta relax here. We're being too negative. We're nitpicking. We're not being. I'm telling you guys, this lineup is so fucking good that we don't have a spot for Jason Dominguez, and you're trying to throw guys out of the fucking lineup that don't deserve to be thrown out of the lineup.
Yeah. There you go.
So, look, here's a short and sweet of it to wrap up the show. This is a great team. This is a championship caliber team. This team needs a fucking closer, plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
So the Yankees are getting their first taste of the rivalry this weekend here. They're going to Boston Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you haven't known, if this wasn't made aware to you yet, the Yankees and Red Sox are been moved up to 6:30 tomorrow because the Celtics have a chance to clinch the NBA title. So it must be nice to have that in a city.
In a city, yeah. It's been a while. Been a little while.
So I didn't know this. After the Rangers got eliminated this year, there's now been 100 combined seasons since the last title in New York.
Jesus God, man. Lots riding on the Yankees right now.
Lot is
riding.
Yep, gotta snap that streak. All right, so Luis Gil's going to take the ball on Friday against Brian Bello. And then Saturday is Fox 7:15, Carlos Rodon against Criswell. And then to wrap it up on Sunday, Marcus Stroman against Cutter Crawford. Okay.
Okay.
I don't. Is that Jamie Lynn Sigler's husband?
I haven't seen him. Um, oh,
I, oh,
she does.
she
She is
she's
married to a
married to
baseball
a
player.
baseball player named Cutter.
Oh, Cutter. Wow. I wanted to say this real quick. Have you been seeing these clips of Fenway Park during Red Sox games?
No.
Like, the most recent one I saw was by Carabas or whatever the fuck his name is. Um, he's like, "What's going on at Fenway Park?" The Phillies were in town, and Schwarber hits like a big double or something. The entire stadium is on their feet, going crazy. It was like a Phillies home game, and apparently this has been happening now, series after series, where Sox fans are clearly outnumbered at Fenway Park.
Well, the Yankees fans have been traveling a lot this year, so it'll be interesting to see how many make it up to
That's why I brought it up.
Fenway this weekend. A couple of quick notes before we do say goodbye here. Garrett Cole is making his rehab start Friday in Scranton. Okay, so that'll be rehab start number 3, which I'm expecting him to push it to about 75 pitches. That would line Cole back up to return to the Yankees sometime in the Boston series. His turn to pitch would be Wednesday, but that would also be Luis Gil's turn. So I don't know.
You said Boston, you meant Baltimore.
Baltimore. I'm sorry. So Cole would be eligible to return then on Wednesday against the Orioles at home. I mean, that would be fucking amazing if that was the case. I do expect it if Cole comes out of this rehab with everything being okay. My guess would be that because the Yankees are going to want to play with Heel a little bit here to give him a little bit of a break, maybe push him back or even skip him here. So that I would say Cole would stay on Wednesday over Luis Heel.
I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of that decision rides on how he looks tomorrow night. I really do.
But if Cole's ready to come back on Wednesday, he's fucking pitching on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, based on if they just push him back a day or skip him a full week, I think that decision is what I'm saying. It really hinges on what Heel does tomorrow night. If he comes out looking dominant, I don't think they skip him a full week. If he looks a little tired again, then you can start flirting with the idea of skipping him a full time in the rotation.
You give him a couple days, maybe have him take Cody Petit's start. You could do that.
Petit.
Also, real quick, we don't have to get super deep into it, but I wanted to mention this and I forgot it. Somebody in the chat mentioned that you trade Spencer Jones because you don't need him. And I think that's a fair point. If you are intent on re-signing Juan Soto and you're factoring Juan Soto and being here, where the fuck is Spencer Jones playing?
First base.
Okay, then you don't trade him.
Put him at fucking first base. Weren't they doing that?
Yeah, but I haven't
a few games at first, so why not? Come on.
He had an injury, and since he's come back from his injury, I know he has not played. He's been in center field the whole time.
Okay, put him back at first.
So you don't want to trade him. You want to put him at first base.
I'll trade the fuck out of him. Give me the
right guy. Because the Yankees have excuse me, the Yankees apparently wouldn't put him in a deal for Dylan Cease. They apparently wouldn't put him in a deal for Corbin Burns. All I'm saying, dude, this team is so fucking close to a World Series. I feel it in my fucking bones how close this team is. I can't let Spencer Jones keep me from the missing piece.
No.
I can't.
No. Oh no. I'm 100%. Of course, I'm on board with you. We've both been screaming that for years. Of course, but it's got to be the right piece still. I'm not just trading him for no one. It's got to be the guy who takes the needle and fucking pushes it all the way to the opposite end of the spectrum.
Cleveland goes on a 14-game losing streak, and now the Royals overtake them. You know, God forbid, J. Ram, he's out of the lineup. He's going to be out for 2 months. They got no shot. Plus, stays on the board. We want Spencer Jones.
It's not even good. I'll fucking drive him there myself.
Pick him up from Somerset.
I'll do whatever. I'll take him out to dinner, whatever he wants. Okay.
So, all right. So, we were very testy tonight, but that's what happens when Clay Holmes blows a game.
Yeah, man. Don't fucking blow games.
Don't blow games, Clay Holmes. Okay?
Don't blow games on recording days.
Don't blow games, period.
Yeah, but especially on recording.
On recording days, because then we can sit here and be boring and try to figure out what we're going to talk about. Like, Oh, Chris, did you see that home run Giancarlo Stanton hit? That was so nice. And then
Yeah.
sit here and look at our watch because we have to hit a certain time mark.
Right. Exactly.
No, but we had a lot of fun tonight. I hope everybody, excuse me. We hope everybody in the chat had a lot of fun tonight. If you're still in the chat and you have not done so already, please hit the like button, subscribe to NYY Underground on YouTube. Make sure you get your tickets for NYY Underground Day on September 14th, right behind Juan Soto in right field. Okay. Make sure you subscribe to the NYYST podcast. We are available on your favorite platform, so you don't, excuse me, we don't miss any shows throughout the course of the year. And make sure you tell
Jesus,
everybody.
you okay, bro?
No, I can't get over
I'm
this
concerned
cough.
with you lately.
And we've been talking for over an hour, so now
Yeah.
I'm
You
dry.
need to wet your whistle.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, well, let me just finish here. Okay. Make sure you tell everybody we are the official Yankees podcast of Odyssey. We want to thank you for your continued support of NYY Underground and the NYYST podcast. We want to thank you for listening and watching episode 397. Chris, say goodbye.
Peace.
Top 10 radar, yeah, we on your radar. Never miss, dog, and that's on occasion. Yeah, we on your radar.
Hey,
we on your
look, top floor lifestyle, chef and boy, I'm cooking up. Play too high, ain't coming down. You see me if you looking up. I don't really talk too much, I show 'em run the numbers up. Lucky that I'm strolling up, I'm going off, they know what's up. Wrist too silly, yeah. Numbers crack the billy, yeah. Don't need no dilly, I'm too fresh, I feel like really, yeah. Feel the duffels up, the sign, I need a milli, yeah. I'm about to take off, and I know that I'm on they